Can I prove two of the very best Football Manager creators wrong? Let's try. What's up, crew? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. This is the Stinger channel. If you're new here, we do tactics, we do let's plays, we do a bit of everything about Football Manager. Now today I watched two of my favourite FM creators, and probably yours too, Zealand and RDF Tactics, talking about things and what to avoid doing during the game. Now all of them, by the way, all of them before we start, I totally agree with. They nailed it. They absolutely nailed it, these boys. But one of them I thought, do you know what? Why doesn't someone have a go at that? And we're going to be the boys to have a go at it. So there it is. There it is. The one to avoid is don't play defensive. Ever. Ever. The boys both agree. Never play defensive. It just goes wrong. It goes wrong. It goes wrong. Hey, do you know what? I totally agree with them. I've never got it to work for the past 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 13, 14. Anytime has never, ever worked. We may drop to cautious now and again at a push like RDF and Z said. But defensive? Nah. So that got me thinking. It got me thinking. What a challenge it will be if we can get a team playing defensive to win something over a season. So I think the first thing to do is decide what tactic based formation we're going to use for this little tester. Now I think the best thing to do is use one that I know works and has won things in the past, but on an attacking mentality. It can't be that simple, right? If we drop that to defensive, surely that blows it all apart. So I'm thinking we go with this one. This is a Stinger Zero tactic I use. 4-3-1-2. We used it with Lazio, and as I play this video on a little bit, you'll see what damage it did in Serie A. For example, Big Chiro and Mobile up front there finished the season, if I'm looking right, in Serie A with 50 goals in 38 games. Now, he's not going to do that if we play defensive, is he? So they finished top of the league with a massive 92 points and 105 goals. Only 2 defeats. So I've got to use that base tactic now, and let's flip it from attacking to defensive. It makes sense, yeah, to use the same team that I know is going to do the business with the tactic, and we're going to see how much this mentality messes with them. So we'll load the tactic up now. My God, I've got too many. In it goes. So that's Stinger Zero 4-3-1-2, the exact tactic I used for Lazio and that season we just looked at. And there's the big thing there. We're up there in attacking mentality. As a reminder, attacking mentality, best employed for matches where the team are favourites to win and expect to dominate possession. Fast tempo, direct passing. Yeah, it's all about battering the opposition. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to flip this for pre-season down to defensive. This mentality, best employed for matches you are favourites to lose. You expect your opponent to put you under pressure, aims to keep men behind the ball, to restrict space, to slow things down. Basically, the complete opposite of the tactic I've just built. Now, this goes a bit deeper, so not only are you changing your team mentality when you do this, but you're also changing the player mentality as well. Now, let me explain. So we've got this one here. This is the attacking one. So let's build the second one. Copy it, and literally all we'll do is we'll change this to defensive. Okay, so we've got our players there, such as the Mazzala. So let's take the Mazzala in the attacking mentality, right? Mazzala, there he is. Random PIs in there. If you want this tactic, by the way, it's on the channel. Go to edit, player instructions, and you can see his mentality, his playing mentality, using the team mentality is very attacking, okay? Now let's go to alternate version, the defensive version. Nothing's changed, same position, same role, same PIs. We'll go up to his mentality now, down to balanced. So you can see by dropping the team mentality, your player mentality is going to drop as well. So in theory, it should make him less aggressive, right? That goes across the board, all the players. Another example, let's do the other side of the coin. So one of my more defensive players in this system is probably going to be the holding deep line playmaker in the central midfield there. If we look at him on the attacking duty, his mentality is still positive because we're still aggressive as hell. Now, if we flip it to the version we're going to use, this defensive one, there is the holding mid player. Let's have a look. And he's cautious now. So everyone's scaling it back a bit. This is going to be dead interesting to see how it affects them all. Right, first up, what we'll do for pre-season is we're going to holiday the pre-season. Same tactic, defensive mentality. Let's see what happens, right? Okay, I've seen the pre-season and I have questions. Here is pre-season. 6-0, 2-0, 5-2, 3-1, 4-0. Defensive. Questions now arise from this, right? Does Simon mess it up a bit? Does the assistant manager say, there's your mentality, no chance, we're still going attacking? That's a bit odd. So now we'll take charge. We've got a game against Spazia, then Bologna, Genoa, Torino. That's 4 games in theory we should smash through. But how is it going to be with this defensive mindset? Let's get to the matches. So it's Spezia first up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from this screen, play it on through. I'm not going to edit it any funky ways, so you can all see that we are indeed using this defensive tactic. Now, annoyingly, Luis Alberto's got himself injured, so that's a bit of a blow straight off the bat. But hey, let's rock. Team are in place, submit team, let's go. In we go. So Lazio, mighty Lazio, will be going defensive at home to newly promoted Spezia. So I guess my question now is, does the formation and the roles and the duties overpower that team mentality? I'm going to play through this whole match. You can see in the bottom corner there, the mentality is set down here. 2 defensive, there it is. So we'll see how it affects it. At the minute, 12 minutes gone. We've had 3 shots. We're dominant. We've got 65% of possession, by the way. Here's the first chance. Cataldi takes the corner. And Francesco Acerbi puts us 1-0 up. Acerbi's put us 1-0 up. It's 25 minutes gone. We've got another corner. Cataldi goes, there's Acerbi again. Acerbi's put us 2-0 up now from 2 corners. Maybe it's not the best benchmark to check, but we are 2-0 up. If you look at the heat map in the top corner quickly, that's not too defensive, is it? Look at the state of that. We've got 2 players who are sitting in our half and the rest are just going forward. Defensive? Right, interestingly, that's half-time, right? We saw the domination in possession, the heat map there, but look at the chances created. There's only 6 chances created, 3 shots on target, 2 corners, which we scored from both of them. Plenty of passes, loads completed. So does that mean they're sitting back and chilling out a bit more and just retaining the possession? I mean, if you take them 2 corners out of it, we're not doing much. 70 minutes gone now, still 61% possession. Lots more shots coming in this half as well. Cataldi to Acerbi, so it's total domination. But what'll be interesting is as the season progresses, if it carries on, look at the way they're playing. There literally is only 2 players at the back there. Ball goes through to Chiro. He just puts it wide. So it's 2-0, 73 minutes, 13 shots, 7 on target. Can't be a third goal from a corner, can it? They're trying, but it's kind of relaxed. It's not exactly super high tempo, but in it goes from Zaccagni. So there's 3. So we're defensive, and we've scored 3 in our first game. To be honest, if I'm playing attacking and I've got 14 shots with 8 on target, an XG that's decent, at 62% possession, I'm probably quite happy. Cataldi's taking this from way out. Oh my god. So Cataldi pings it in, that's 4-0. But remember, that's 3 goals from set plays. So I'm not judging this yet. We'll go to the next game and we'll see what it looks like. Alright, so there it is. 4-0. And the stats down the bottom there, 16 shots, 9 on target, 62% possession, 677 passes. We passed them to death. So is that a factor with the mentality? So here's that last match. Average possession with the ball. It's still bloody aggressive, isn't it? 2 centre-backs and the only 2 back. And then you got your holding player there. The rest bombing up without the ball. Into shape. 4-3-2-1. Still nice. So overall possession, you've got to say it's still pretty aggressive. Right, it's only 1 game, but this has got me thinking. Does the formation and the attackingness of the formation, the roles, the duties, the quality of the players, does it overpower that set team mentality? It's worth remembering that mentality does affect a few of your team instructions, but not all of them. So, for example, down here, it's going to adjust your tempo and your passing. So if you look at the defensive, it goes slightly shorter, slightly lower. When it's on the attacking mindset, it's shorter and standard. So it does drop a couple of things. But one thing it doesn't drop, obviously, you go to your out possession. So you set your team up as an aggressive formation like that, where you're pushing high and you're still pressing high. That's in the attacking setup. In the defensive setup, that ain't going to change. It's still as high up as you like. The way you structure your team is not going to change. Some things are, but the structure of your team isn't. So is that overpowering the mentality as well? So many questions after one blooming match. So many questions. Bologna now away from home. Will this be any different? Exactly the same setup. You can see the mentality. Let's get to the match. Submit team. So we played the home game. A game we should have won against Spezia and we battered them 4-0. How is it going to be against Bologna? Another game we probably should win, but away from home, probably not be as dominating. But as you can see, straight from the get-go, a 20-minute team, we've got 60% possession. So it's following the pattern of the last match. Here comes the highlight now. Lazzari, the wing-back, way high up. SMS, back to Lazzari, whips it across. Muraki and Chirimoli puts it in. It's going to VAR, but they've started quite well. We're not playing great here. 30 minutes gone. Bologna have got the ball at the minute. It's been a bit of an extended highlight, this one. You see they're passing it around. Again, they look quite passive, Lazio. They're not all up in the grill, aggressive. Here's Barrow. 37 minutes gone. This has not been as impressive, and what I've noticed as I've been watching it is they don't seem as aggressive in the press, so that might be something with the mentality. But here they come now with Lucas, ball over the top towards a Mobley, lays it back. See, that's still a wing back, still high up, so he's still bobbing on, and Cataldi smacks the crossbar. Half time. So the big takeaways from that half were that when Bologna were coming at Lazio, I didn't see them pressing as intently as I normally would. Maybe that's because they're away from home, maybe Bologna are playing particularly well, but that's just a little thing that stuck out. So the 63 minutes gone. Now, like the last game, they are starting to grow into the match. It's very similar to the last match where they started slowly and got better as the game went on. So maybe that's something to do with the mentality, or maybe I'm just clutching at straws to try and make sense of all this. Now we see the stats in the top corner though, and just like the last game, they are cranking up. 15 shots now, 5 on target. They've got the XG way up there. Here's SMS with the free kick to Zakagny. They are trying now. It seems like they're growing to the game with this mentality. So the first half, they kind of sit back and see what happens, and as they start to dominate, that's where the chances start to come through the second half. There's 10 minutes to go. Here's Zakagny. I haven't made any changes at all to formation or players. Nothing. I've just let it play through. Lucas to Zakagny. Through ball to SMS. He has a little look, nothing doing. Goes back again. So they are retaining possession. Like mentality does say they'll try and keep it. SMS lays it through to Zakagny, who misses another sitter. So with 5 minutes to go, the heat map shows that they have been completely dominant but not getting anywhere. SMS is about to take another free kick. He's about 25 yards out, give or take. Taking his time, he steps up, he pings one, and it's a great save from the keeper. Even on corners, they seem to take a bit longer. Lucas takes the corner. It's just like they're dawdling over it, not on a lot of urgency. Full-time whistle goes. It's a 0-0. Now, stats-wise, in the bottom corner there, you can see Lazio 20 shots, 8 on target, 3 XG, 674 passes. So it's very similar to the last match. Clear-cut chances 3. They should have done that match, shouldn't they? At the minute, I won't lie to you, I'm not seeing a massive change. What I might be seeing is a bit more patience, holding the ball a bit longer, a bit less urgency, a bit less up in your face. But just a quick one about that less urgency, that kind of spot. It does ring true if you look at something simple as the intensity levels. So this is the defensive setup. Intensity levels there, about 3/4 of the way up. You go to the attacking level, it's a little bit more smash mouth, isn't it? So that is definitely one of the key things that does drop off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on holiday until that AC Milan game, and then we're going to do that Milan game and see what it's looking like. Now, the initial testing with the Stinger Zero tactic on attacking was done under a sim, so this will be interesting when we get to Milan. Let's see what happens. We're back from our holidays, and what's interesting, is Ciro, big Immobile. Remember, he scored 60-odd goals in the initial tactic attacking Stinger Zero. This time, he's kind of struggling a bit. He's got 3 goals in 6 overall. Not really having it. The team in general, 1-0 against Genoa, 4-0 against whoever they are. I'm not 100% sure who they are. They're struggling 3-3 at home to Torino, and they've just lost big 4-2 to Roma. I mean, obviously, if you're playing the game and you start on defensive mentality and you start going a few goals down, you're going to flip that up, aren't you? But it's just interesting to see. They are still creating chances, though. Look at that, Lazio. 17 shots, 8 on target. They probably should have got some out of that game. In fact, when you look at it closer there, you can see 2 goals in injury time beat them. So that's their first defeat of the season. But they're conceding goals. That's 7 goals they've conceded in the last 2 games. Torino, what happened there? Again, another 17 shots, 6 on target. They don't seem to have as much of a cutting edge being defensive. And it all weighs up. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it? So we'll see how this goes against AC Milan. We're going to play this one. This could be brutal. Okay, AC Milan, in goes the team. Wish us luck. This is going to be the toughest test. We're away from home as well. So, trending, when we've done it, is we've started slowly and then came into the game. Now, the games we've simulated haven't gone well, have they? But here we go. So, nice ball over the top from SMS to Immobile. Decent little start. 1 minute in. First chance for Lazio. Although there's a corner, straight away, AC Milan. Zlatan puts it in, so here we go. Zlatan puts it in. 6 minutes gone. Remember, the attacking version of this tactic only lost twice in that entire season. We've already lost 1 to Roma, and we're behind here to AC Milan. And you can see how deep they are. It's interesting, this. Here's Lazzari, though. Can he make anything from this? Back to Ramos. This slower, more sedate tempo that this mentality brings. 17 minutes gone, still 1-0 to AC Milan. They're starting to ping it about. You can see the less urgent pressing going on with this defensive mentality. Lazio have won the ball back here. Immobile gets on the end of it. Can he get back in the goal scoring groove? He crosses to Muriki, hits the crossbar, and Kjaer just clears it for... Oof. And the dominating possession again. They are dominating possession. The heat map's different though. They are a lot deeper this time. That's because obviously Milan are a better team. Rebic goes down. It looked like a dive, but you know what happens when it goes to VAR in this game. If it's in the box, it's a penalty, right? Yep. Frank Kesse. That's 2-0. Now at this point, you and me would probably change this mentality, but this is an experiment. We're sticking with it. It's staying like defensive, like it says in that bottom corner. There's the heat map. You can see we're a lot deeper, getting pushed back by AC Milan. Half-time stats are in. It's literally the same as the other two games. 3 shots, 1 on target. Possession has been dominating. Passes completed. Again, more than AC Milan, but it's the cutting edge that they're lacking. It is the cutting edge that they are lacking. And we've got to remember that this tactic has been proven with Lazio. They won Serie A with it on a holiday sim. They only lost twice. They're just struggling a little bit with that simple change of mentality. It's so interesting. But here they come now with Marasic down the right. Loses out though. AC Milan on the counter-attack. Big Zlatan, through ball to Messias Jr. Should have been free. It was Rafa Leo puts in the third. It's 3-0. Maybe we'll make a big comeback for the season, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. 92nd minute. Look, they're away to AC Milan. This sort of result can happen. When you look at the actual stats, they are actually pretty close, so it's not as bad as it looks. But here come AC Milan again. They could break through and get a fourth here with Messias Jr. to Calabria. So what we'll do after this match, we're going to go on a sim. Maldini shoots for the rest of the season, and then we'll just compare it to the way the attacking version of the tactic performed. There's the full-time analysis. Pretty comfortable for AC Milan. Similar amount of shots, better possession for Lazio, more passes, but the cutting edge is where it lacks with this mentality, it looks like. After 6 games, Lazio with a pretty average record of 1-2, drawn 2, lost 2. Interestingly, the goals for column is very interesting as well. There we go, where we're at. There, 4-10, but also against 10. You'd think with a defensive mentality that would be better, but they are shipping goals now. What we're going to do now is we're going to holiday. If they survive the season, we'll compare it to the way the test with my initial version of the tactic worked. What's going to happen? So we've kind of seen what the defensive mentality does to our side, the way they act, the things they do, the things they don't do. But how did Lazio perform over the whole season? And more importantly, did we accomplish the mission? Did they win something being defensive all season? Let's have a look. Okay, the season's done. The boys are away on holiday. Let's check in with Ciro Immobile first. Remember, 60 goals with this tactic, but with the attacking mentality. How's he done this year? Not as good. 21 in the league, 37 games. Still very decent, 30 overall, but half what he managed when it was attacking. Finished in 5th place, just outside of the Champions League places. Sassuolo claimed that, surprisingly. But they've managed to lose 8 games. Do you know what? They've scored 72 goals, which is nearly 2 a game, which isn't bad really, is it? But it's 30 goals down from the same tactic, remember, just with a different mentality. Conceded 38, so that's good. Only a goal a game. So they've clawed that back. That was good. But you got to say, it's a little bit disappointing because we know what these boys are capable of with the same bloody tactic. It's just in the head. It completely changes them. Others of competitions, no trophy I'm afraid. Knocked out the Europa League by Besiktas of all teams and out of the quarters of the Coppa Italia to Atalanta. So it's a bit of a disappointing season when you know what they're capable of. We took the challenge on and we just fell slightly short. Playing defensive for a whole season, we weren't able to win anything. But more importantly from this video, I think you saw the difference in what happened, the drop off in intensity, in creativity, in cutting edge. So it's very interesting. Obviously, we're not going to use defensive right through a season like that. We would change our mentalities up game dependent. And the main message that RDF and Z were both saying was if you try to defend the lead, don't suddenly drop it back to defensive because you're asking for trouble. And you can see that, especially in that AC Milan game. But I wouldn't rule out using defensive from the start in some games because sometimes it kind of worked. Have you ever used defensive? Have you had success with it? Do you drop back to defensive to hold on to a lead? Let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.